everyone, and welcome back to another CoStar FanCast. My name is Simona, and I'm going to be your host for today. We have the always lovely, very talented Jeremy Shada. Hey, Jeremy, how you doing?
Doing great. It's good to be here. It's good to see everybody. Thank you for those very, very nice claps of support. And working from my little studio that I've just 2 weeks.
Yeah, sure. So is that kind of what you've been up to the last few weeks? Just jamming and doing any acting stuff?
Yeah, I actually, obviously not anything on camera because we're all in quarantine, so it's kind of hard to shoot stuff. But I've been working on some kind of pre-production for a project that the first season is actually supposed to come out, I think in late August, early September, that I worked on last year when I was in Vancouver. So excited for that to finally come out. They should be announcing it in the next couple weeks. So I'm stoked for that. We're kind of doing some writing and songwriting and stuff for this upcoming project. And so I've had to create a little home studio. Actually, this is our guest room in our place, but we've kind of converted it into a guest room / studio space. There's a closet over there that we converted into a little sound booth for recording. And this is my desk. It's not anything super duper extravagant, but you can kind of see a little bit of this.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, just making it work.
Nice. Good to hear it. Good guitars in the background too.
Exactly. They're practical because it's easy to access, but it also just it just looks aesthetic.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. Well, we have some very eager fans that want to ask you their questions. So let's jump right in. Okay, so we are going to our first fan, and her name is Trinity. Trinity, how are you going today?
I'm good. How are you?
Yes.
Sorry.
So, Trinity, what's your question for Jeremy?
So my question was, can we expect anything from Makeout Monday? I've been jamming out to you guys all throughout quarantine. I know we just got, Blue Romance and Paper Hearts. So are you guys planning on doing anything else? Releasing another album? What's the deal?
I know that we had, I think, at least one other song recorded prior to all of this, so I don't know when that's going to be out, but there should be at least one other one that comes out in probably the next couple months. We had one other song that we recorded prior to everything that should be coming out. Other than that, obviously, it's kind of all up in the air. It's hard to write stuff and kind of produce things and just collaborate when you're all via Zoom calls and FaceTimes. I mean, you can do a little bit of it, but it's definitely it's so much less convenient at times than when you're in person and you're just kind of writing together and you can really collaborate and you can hear someone play something and then you're like, oh, that's cool. Let's sing over that. And yeah, I think the songwriting process in person, you just have that camaraderie and that just fun from being in the same place for a couple days. As opposed to through Zoom, you have lag and stuff. So it's someone's playing a guitar part and you're trying to sing with it, but it's off because there's lag. And so it's a difficult process doing it over Zoom. Basically, what ends up happening is you just record something as an MP3 on your phone and send it. And then someone kind of, you build it back and forth. So we're figuring out all of that type of stuff and putting together some digital demo stuff. But as far as actually new music that's fully done, we have one song that hasn't been released, so hopefully that'll be out soon. And then I'm honestly have no idea what we're doing after that and what the landscape looks like for music in the next year or so. So we're still figuring all of that out, as I'm sure everybody else is right now.
For sure.
Yeah, I feel we are all trying to navigate this new technological world. So Trinity, I have to ask you a question myself. What is your favorite Makeout Monday song?
See, I was afraid of this. I was afraid you were going to ask this. Gosh, I
no
really
pressure.
I know, right? Blue Romance just came out, so I really enjoy that one. We'll just say for today, because it could change later today. It could change tomorrow. I don't know. It's Every Little Everything.
Very
nice. Every Little Everything in Blue Romance. Yeah.
That's a good answer.
Sorry.
I think you covered it all there. Awesome. Well, thank you, Trinity. That was an awesome question.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Trinity. You're welcome, of course.
So just stick around for us, and we'll come back to you. Next up, we have our next fan, who is Gracie. Hey, Gracie, how are you doing? Where are you calling from today?
Arkansas.
Gracie from Arkansas.
Great. Okay, so Gracie, what's your question for Jeremy?
What's it like being Finn from Adventure Time, and what was your favorite episode you had fun doing with?
It's awesome. I love. Hello, Gracie's friend, maybe little sister, somebody.
Sister, maybe.
This is my sister.
What's your name, Kristen?
Ella.
Ella. Nice to meet you, Ella. And yeah, I love being fit. It's the best thing in the world. It's crazy when you get to work on something for such a long period of time and really kind of grow up with it. I mean, I started doing film when I was 12 years old, and then to still technically to this day be working on it is pretty awesome. It's such a huge gift and blessing to be a part of a show that goes that long, but also just that I think really touches a lot of people on a lot of different levels, and a lot of people can relate to and find relatability in such a crazy, colorful, magical world. But I think that's what's great about it is you're putting relatable kind of circumstances and issues into a fun, escapist, colorful world. And I think my favorite episode to do has been, I don't know, we've done over 200, so it's kind of hard to narrow that down. But I think one of my favorite moments was getting to do like a Lumpy Space Princess impression when Finn and Jake get bitten by a Lumpy Space Princess and they get the lumps and they have kind of Valley Girl accents. That's probably one of my favorite. Just getting to say, "Oh my God, Jake, no, kind of my ball." I think that was probably one of my favorite ones. Favorite moments to record. Just laughing hysterically between takes. So definitely that one.
Awesome.
Nice. And Ella, do you maybe have a question for Jeremy? I know we're putting you on the spot a little bit, but maybe you do.
I never really came up with one. I just
That's okay.
Oh, nice. Great.
I did put you on the spot, but I love your little jumper. That's very sparkly.
Yeah.
Amazing. So, Gracie, do you have a favorite episode?
I have tons. I like Cloudy because Finn and Jake actually bond and talk things out together through calming stuff. Yeah, that was my favorite one.
Awesome. Okay, so thank you so much, Gracie. So stick around for us and we'll come back to you. Okay, so our
Thanks,
next
Gracie.
fan that we have up, thanks, Gracie, is Matthew. Hey, Matthew, where are you calling from?
Hi, I'm calling in from England.
From England?
Nice. What's going on, Matthew? Are you England? Really?
So, Matthew, what is your question for Jeremy?
So obviously, like, you voiced in Voltron. I was wondering what, like, scene, because obviously this would have been cut, and that you didn't get to voice or didn't get to do the Voltron.
Oh, good question. I'm trying to think. I mean, off the top of my head, I'm trying to think what things I guess would have gotten cut. I think generally for us on the voice acting end of things, usually if a lot of times things will get cut before they even get to us. So there's maybe things that like I'd heard about that ended up changing or that they mentioned that didn't end up happening. But generally, by the time we record, it's fairly locked in. I mean, it's not, but it's fairly locked in, and so I don't really remember anything hugely specific that got cut from the show. But I think the only thing I can really think of was something that it didn't get cut. It just kind of got changed a little bit. And so there was a line in, what is the episode? There's a line where Lance is feeling kind of homesick and he misses his family. And he was talking about, like surfing there at Air Beach. And about his brothers and sisters. And I think originally in the script, it was written, not the whole thing, but like there was a little bit of it that was written in Spanish because Lance is Cuban. And I got there that day and I was like, oh, okay, cool. Like I don't speak Spanish. So I was like, could someone like Could someone educate me on how to say this correctly? Because I don't want to just sound like someone who has no idea what they're doing. And I think they ended up just making it in English. But yeah, if I had more time on it, I would have loved to have done it in Spanish and just made it sound good. But at the time, it was very not. It didn't sound great. So they're like, we'll just do it in English. But I think off the top of my head, that's the only really thing that I can think of that I ever remember that I saw that ended up getting changed once it was already in scripted form. But that's about it. I don't know about much else because usually stuff gets just cut or changed before it even gets to us. And by the time we record, that's what's pretty much what's going to be in the show. So.
Awesome. Very good question, Matthew. So thanks for that. Okay, so make sure you stick around with us and we'll come back to you as well. So our next fan that we've got up is Kelly. Hey, Kelly, what's going on?
What's up, Kelly? How you doing?
Good. Today's my birthday.
So, Kelly, what's your question for Jeremy?
Yes.
Oh, your
Happy
birthday's
birthday.
today?
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
How old are you?
Oh,
I'm 23.
23.
Oh.
That's a good age. That's the same age as me. 23 and me. We're both 23.
Right.
there you go. We might have to sing happy birthday to you a little bit later.
No, please.
No. Okay. Okay,
Right.
well, first off, happy birthday. And what's your question for Jeremy?
Okay. Are you a neat freak or a messy person?
A neat freak or a messy person? You know, I mean, at this point, I'm pretty clean, but I used to be, I don't think as much as like a clean freak. I was neat. I was pretty tidy. You know, I would everything kind of had more or less the spot that I put it in. And so I'd always make my bed and do so on and so forth. So I always thought I was pretty neat and pretty clean. And then I met my now wife, and when we first started dating, it became very apparent to me that I was nowhere near a clean freak, because my wife is the cleanest clean freak of all time. And so everything is she one of her favorite things is to clean. Like, she gets so excited when she gets to go vacuum a room or when she gets to go disinfect a countertop, or anything like that. Like, that's her favorite thing to do. Today I was like, oh, hey, we need to vacuum our bedroom. And I was like, oh, you want to vacuum it? And she was like, actually, can you go let the boys out? And I was like, I mean, sure. But she was like, I really want to vacuum it. And I was like, okay. All right. I was like, I mean, I offered to do it, but she wanted to vacuum. So, yeah, now our house is always clean. And I got to say, it's a great thing. Like, it just smells nice. Everything does look nice. She does a great job. She's converted me to being a clean freak. As you can see from this ridiculously just tidy, put together room. That's not me. That's
perfect. Nice amount of pillows we've got there too. I appreciate a good amount of pillows.
Yeah, that's all her. So.
Oh.
Okay.
So, Kelly, big question. Are you a clean freak or a messy person?
I'm a messy person.
Me too. Me too. Well, look, there's not much else to do during lockdown. So if you're not baking, maybe we can look. I've been telling myself that.
Okay.
No one. Hey, if you're in lockdown, it's not like anyone's coming around. So I think you're fine. You know what? If it was up to me by myself, I probably would have a much messier house. A lady who likes things tidy.
It looks immaculate from what we can see. So
mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Kelly. That was a great question. We know a little bit more about Jeremy's life now.
Uh-huh.
Awesome. So stick around and we'll come back to you.
Okay.
So the next one that we have up is
Happy birthday, Kelly.
Happy birthday.
Yeah,
Hi, Jacob. Sorry, it's not your birthday, but how you doing? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, I'm calling from Apaka, which is Orlando, Florida. And I met him in MegaCon.
Amazing.
Well, good to see you again, Jacob. When was that? That was in...
Yeah, it was 2 years ago. 2018?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow,
2018.
time flies. it feels like 2018 feels like 5 to 10 years ago. That doesn't even. That's gosh, it's been a long couple of years. That feels like an eternity.
So Jacob, what's your question here for Jeremy?
So, are you working on some new stuff besides Distant Lands, and how are you doing with your wife?
Great question. First off, I guess I'm doing great. Life is good. Can't complain. No complaints here. And yes, I am working on stuff other than Distant Lands. We actually recorded Distant Lands kind of the end of last year, beginning of this year. And then I have a show that I was working on from like June through December of last year that we were shooting the whole first season of, that we're kind of in some pre-production type stuff for a potential second season, but it's not official yet, so I can't say that, I guess. But the show's supposed to be coming out, I think, in late August, early September, from what they've told me. It'll be on Netflix. That's cool. Nice,
What's
easy, streamable. The show is called Julie and the Phantoms, which I don't even know if I'm supposed to say yet either. Julie and the Phantom. Yeah, but...
hey, we're getting first access here.
Yeah. I'm not really supposed to say that, but I think they're going to be announcing it in the next couple weeks, or in less than a month.
We didn't hear anything.
You didn't hear anything, yeah. You guys know, don't share it. But yeah, that should be announced pretty quick here, and the first season will be coming out pretty soon. So that's what I've been actively working on a lot. And it's kind of nice. It's always hard when you work on something for so long and it's like confidential and you can't announce things, and you're like shooting a show for like 6 months and you can't even say that you're shooting a show. And then like finally you're just waiting for like the cast announcement and the show announcement just so you can like talk about it. And so that's finally like right around the corner. So I'm excited about that. So hopefully everybody likes it.
Yeah, I'm sure we can all relate to that. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Jacob.
Oh, you saw the first one of Distant Lands? You had the first episode out, right? Nice. Yeah. I haven't watched it yet, so I'm excited to check it out. Which one is the first one? Is it the BMO episode?
Yeah, the BMO one.
Nice. What'd you think?
Yeah,
and what did you think, Jacob? Yeah, what did you think?
Yeah, I think it was good. I never expected the ending, so no spoilers.
Oh yeah, no don't spoil it for us. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Jacob. Great question. So the next one that we've got up is, and I hope I say this right, Devi. Have we got Devi? Or Devi?
Yes, it is Devi. It's Devi indeed.
Devi! I got it right the first time. Never doubt yourself. Hey, how you doing? Where are you calling from?
I'm good. I'm calling from Jamaica again. So it's fun.
Devi's a regular.
Yes. I try to be. I'm doing good. How are you?
Doing great. Just making some music. Learning how to play guitar, which is fun.
I see them. Looking lovely.
Thank you.
All right. So the question I wanted to ask, Jacob, thank you so much for not spoiling the special, because I haven't gotten to see the Adventure Time Distant Lands episode is yet. So thank you for not spoiling. But I wanted to know, like, Jeremy, what was going through your head when you got that first information that, hey, Jeremy, we're going to need you to come back in as Finn because it's coming back? What was your, I don't know, what were you feeling?
It was kind of weird. I don't even think I heard from them directly when it was, I think literally, I remember I was working on the show that's about to come out in like the next month or 2 months. And I was just on set and someone came up to me, like a castmate or somebody came up to me and they're like, "Oh dude, I'm so stoked they're bringing Adventure Time back." And I was like, what are you talking about? And so he was like, "Check this out." So like he just showed me the whatever like Deadline article or whatever news outlet had, posted that they're bringing back Adventure Time for all these specials. So I was like, "Oh, cool. And in my head for a sec, I was thinking like, oh, like I haven't heard about this officially. Like, did they like recast me or something? So at first I was like, oh yeah, that's awesome. And then like I called my agent and I was like, yo, do you know what's happening with this? And then they were like, oh yeah, they just reached out today. Like it got like leaked that it was happening early. Otherwise they would have told you first. I was like, okay, that makes sense. So yeah, then I contacted them and I was like, cool. But it was kind of weird. I mean, we'd been done with, for us on the recording end of things, I think, the show, the last episode had aired probably at least over a year before that, the finale had aired. And we'd been done working on it for almost 3 years. Maybe more than 3 years at that point. So it's kind of a weird, like you're just not even in that mindset anymore. You're not even thinking that that's going to be something that's going to happen. It was one of those things where, I mean, the show is so beloved and we all love working on it that we always would be down to come back to do more with it. And there was always a little bit of something where it was like, the way it ended was left, at least open to come do more stuff. But I guess you never assume that they're going to come and do that. So I was really excited. It was fun it's like a family reunion, when we recorded the specials, like getting to be back with everyone. And it's such a weird time warp because I got so used to being on it, and then you get used to not being on it, and then you suddenly do it again years later, and you're like, wow, it feels like I'm back in 2016, just recording the Adventure Time on the same day. It was always on a Tuesday, so back on a Tuesday recording with people. Yeah, it felt like time hadn't passed. It was it's a really surreal experience, but it's always exciting. I would gladly go back and do even more if they, wanted to past this. I love the show, so it was great.
Right. I'm glad you mentioned the whole time thing. You know what BMO said in the finale? Time is an illusion that helps things make sense. That song made me cry.
Oh, okay. That was really good.
Even better than BMO did. That was a beautiful little vocal. I was like, oh, you're just teasing those little vocals right there.
I do love singing, so thank you.
You're very good. Awesome. Thanks so much, Debbie. That was a great question and a beautiful voice. Okay, so let's move on to our next fan. No, that's okay. Okay, so Thomas. Hey, Thomas, how you doing? Hey, how you doing? Where are you calling from?
I'm in Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania. Awesome.
What's up, man?
Well,
awesome. So what's your question for Jeremy, Thomas?
Well, I put in the question, but I put it added context. But the real question was like, how did it feel like recording the finale and stuff? Like, how did it feel like?
Of Adventure Time? Yeah, totally. Good question. It's kind of weird. I mean, when you've done something for so long, it becomes so natural to you. Like, like I said earlier, like it was a weekly basis. Like every Tuesday was Adventure Time day, basically. Like we'd go in and do an episode on every Tuesday. And so we got into season 9. We knew we'd been picked up for, or no, it was 10. Because I think it was 10, or maybe it was 9, but they ended up splitting it into 9 and 10. But we were picked up for that, and then after we started recording the first, like maybe 3 or 4 episodes of that season, and then they called us all in afterwards one day, and then they made like the big announcement, like this was our final season, which is always such a like. I guess you kind of feel it coming, but you also kind of have no idea because. You've been doing it for long enough that you're like, okay, well, I mean, we've gone basically longer than any other show on this network has gone. So, you're in a weird, like, kind of new ground area where there's no precedent for it. And so you don't really know if you're going to go for eternity or if you're about to be done. It's kind of a weird thing. And then finally they were like, yeah, this is our last season. And so then you're really, I think, just trying to make the most of those last like 10 or 15 records. And really just enjoying it. It's one of those things where you never know what you have until it's gone. I mean, I feel like we all knew what we had for a long portion of it, and you knew that you were in like good days and like in good fun with like a great people. So like we had a blast doing it. So I think it was just kind of an emotional thing. It's kind of weird. It's almost so so surreal that you don't really feel like it's actually happening. And then I think once you're kind of at that last record or you did like your last take, then it's kind of, it finally like hits you a little bit and you're like, oh yeah, I'm not going to be seeing these people on a weekly basis anymore. I think that's the weird thing about acting is, I mean, once a show or a project or a movie is done, I mean, you don't have that excuse to get to hang out with your friends on a weekly basis or something, friends being your coworkers, but you know, you get along with those people and it's so much fun to do what you do. So then you really have to go out of your way afterwards to go spend time with people and you're working on different projects. So it's kind of surreal. I think it's always bittersweet. You're always proud that you got to go as far as you went because you don't want to, I mean, I'm just thankful that the show is what it is, but it's bittersweet. You know, you miss the fun parts of it always, obviously.
Awesome. So, Thomas, do you have a favorite episode?
Yeah, it's probably when Finn and Fern were doing Sweet Pea, and then like with the Lich.
Classic.
Nice. Hey, you answered that so quickly. You had it. You knew. Awesome.
You didn't have to think about
Thanks,
it.
Thomas. Yeah,
Thanks
that's it.
Thomas.
Thanks so much, Thomas. Awesome. So before we move on to our next fans, I have a few questions for you, Jeremy. So
Yes.
obviously during this COVID-19 time, so obviously lots changed in the industry. So maybe you could speak a little to how it's changed for you personally in regards to auditions, rehearsals, even maybe Carolyn's ballet. Like, are you helping with her ballet and she's helping you with screen tests? Maybe you can tell us a little bit.
I mean, I think as much as any industry or as much as any job is changed, unless you were somebody that already worked from home, you know, but I think it's interesting. I think a lot of the industry was already, at least for auditioning sake, you know, like self-tapes for auditions, a lot of the industry was already kind of going that route. I mean, even before all this, I feel like probably at least 8 out of 10 auditions, if not more, were self-tapes. And so that, you know, we've all been kind of used to doing that in the industry. So that hasn't changed dramatically. We just do self-tapes the same as we did at that point. And then the biggest thing is obviously not being able to shoot right now in person. For me, I was in kind of a weird, in a good way, weird scenario that I'm very thankful for, that we were done shooting the first season of the show that I'm working on now. And we were right in between. They were doing post-production and we were just kind of getting ready to do the early like rehearsals and that type of stuff for our potential next season. And so that it didn't really affect us in that sense. We were, you know, we were done shooting, so like we didn't have to be there in person, and it's still going to come out slightly later than it would have, but not by much. And so it kind of worked out for us. I think by the time that we need to actively start doing in-person rehearsals and potentially shooting again for another season, I think by that point we'll be able to, which is good. So. Yeah, we've just been doing a lot of meetings and stuff remotely, like we were saying earlier. For Carolyn, she, I guess she retired from ballet at a good time. She retired professionally from ballet. I think it's right at the end of this last year, or like last summer. And so she just she's working for another company. She does kind of online marketing and online like design and kind of graphic design for marketing and stuff. So that already was remote anyway. And so she's just been working remotely with that. So yeah, a good timing. Obviously it's hard as a ballet dancer right now because everything they do is in person. That's what makes it so amazing, is you get to go see this live and happen in person. That's kind of, we have a lot of friends that are in that world, that they're just kind of on hold more or less until people figure out how to deal with it. And so, yeah, you hope that it gets back to it, because I think a lot of things like ballet or like especially live performing arts, so much of what makes it amazing is the experience of being there in person. You know, you're really seeing the people do it like 20 feet on the stage in front of you. You're seeing all of it happen live, and there's just such a different feel watching those type of performances in person than if you were just watching it through a phone screen or a TV screen or a computer screen. It's really about that in-person experience. And so hopefully, at some point we can get back to doing that, because I love live arts and live performances. It's such a beautiful thing to watch, and it's so cool to watch in person.
For sure. So have you done any theater yourself, or is it just being completely
I'm a fan of it, but I'm a fan of it, but I've never actually gotten the chance to do any actual theater myself. I started doing just acting from like 5 or 6 years old, so I just got so in that realm that it was just never I guess it was never a thing. And when you grow up in LA, obviously like film and TV and stuff is definitely far more prevalent culturally than live arts are, just as far as what you kind of do. But I've always appreciated it, and I think people that do live arts, it's such a different skill set in a really cool way, and so I admire that. It's really amazing.
For sure. And so I have one more question before we go back to Nick. So my question is, do you have any words of wisdom for any actors that are maybe aspiring out there, like maybe some tips or tricks?
Good question. I would say
just in a nutshell,
Yeah, just in a very condensed version. I think for me, the main thing is a lot of times, especially this is just my own experience, but especially in acting, there's roles that call for, it's acting. You're acting like somebody else ultimately. I mean, there's roles that call for being different than yourself. I mean, it's not like I play me in every single thing that I do, because it's just definitely not the case. It would be vastly too boring if that were the case. But that's what's fun about acting. I mean, really, it is kind of that childlike imagination that you get to imagine yourself as all these different things, and you get to live out these kind of fun little, especially like fantastical fantasies that, like a 5 or 6 year old version of yourself would have just made up in your head anyway. But you get to have a full production budget behind it, and it gets to look so much cooler. And so I think that's what I love the most about it. But even with that, you're playing make-believe, but I think another big advice is to obviously get caught up in it in a good way and just the make-believe of it and have fun and be comfortable. But even when you're playing a role that is different than yourself, it could be completely different in 100 million ways. Those types of roles, you really have to kind of look at it as okay, what would this actor do in this situation? But there's a lot of roles that are more natural, I guess, and more normal. And so I think with a lot of roles, it's kind of like maybe the show is crazy, but the person is a more grounded individual. And so in some ways it's like, okay, well, you bring a little bit of yourself into it. You're like, all right, in this situation, how would I react? And so I think there's a lot of things that no matter what, even if you're playing a very different character, I think everyone's always going to see a little bit of you in it, just in the sense of, I mean, your facial expressions are your facial expression. You can change them based off a character. If you're a very brooding, overtly serious person, you're not going to have a lot of smile happening all the time. But, if you're anything that's semi-normal, like your smile is your smile, so I would say don't try to change the things that you really can't change, you adapt to different characters. And you have to change how you do certain things based on the character, but there's no sense in, I guess, in a weird way, trying to be something that you're not. There's certain roles that I'll get a breakdown for, and I'm like, I'm not right for this. Like, I can't, I'm just not going to. It doesn't work for me. Like, there's no way. Like, I don't see it myself. Like, I don't think I could pull this off. Even if it's a really cool role, there's still certain things you're like, nah, I don't think that's within my realm of at least personal believability at times. And then there's stuff that, you'll see and you're like, it's not something I would normally tend towards, but it's fun to give it a shot. And sometimes you'll fall flat on your face, and that's okay. I mean, ultimately that's what a lot of acting is. You try different things, and some things work and some things just don't, but that's kind of the field, it's very subjective. And so I feel like the main thing is to have kind of a thick skin and not take things so personally, ultimately.
For sure. I think that's very sound advice. Thanks, Jeremy. I hope everyone watching wrote that down.
That was even that was such a condensed. That was like a long rant, and even that is such a condensed nutshell of all the things that relate to acting and performing arts. But I hope that had any type of insight. It makes sense.
I think it had the right amount of insight and passion. It was perfect. Thanks, Jeremy.
Thank you.
Awesome. So we're now just going to head back to Nick. Hey, Nick, are you back with us?
We're back. What's going on, Nick? Again?
Are we back?
Maybe
not. Okay, no worries. So now we're just going to move on. So, Edward, are you there?
I'm right here.
Hey, how you doing? Where are you calling from?
Dallas.
Nice.
Edward from Dallas. What's up, dude? Oh my goodness.
What's that?
Hey, well, it's good to see you again, obviously. That's so cool.
Edward, what's your question for Jeremy?
My question is, what can we expect from the Adventure Time Disney Island and specials on HBO Max?
Great question. It's going to be, they're very different. I feel like they're very different than I feel like normal Adventure Time episodes in a cool way. I mean, if you broke it down, it would be like 4 Adventure Time episodes are per special, essentially, for the time it is. And so it's kind of fun to do like almost little mini movies about one contained storyline. Whereas in like a normal Adventure Time episode, we get like 11 minutes. But this is like 45, close to an hour for the specials. And so I think that makes it really cool. I think I might be biased because it's one that has the most Finn in it, but I think the Together Again special, which I think will be the last one they release, is very primarily Finn and Jake, and I think it'll be very unexpected in the kind of, I guess, seriousness and the dark places that we take certain things to. But it was shocking, like reading some of the scripts for it. We started doing one, and I was like, oh my god, like this is very like it's a whole other level than what we did in the series. I think a cool thing, without getting in trouble for spoiling things, is we'll get to see certain characters at different ages and kind of at different points in time throughout the show that we have previously not gotten to see. Some stuff is, I think, pretty far in the future compared to where the finale ended, and some stuff is a little bit farther in the future. Some stuff is, like 2 years down the road. So we kind of jump around a lot as far as the time, which is kind of cool. We'll get to see a couple potentially different ages of Finn, which is fun. I'm excited for it. I'm excited to see people's response to some of it. So I would say expect the unexpected, which is the cheesiest answer I could possibly give, but that's kind of that's probably the best thing I can say.
Edward, my question is, what is your favorite episode?
I like the episode with Jake and his puppies.
Nice. I love that.
The little rainicorn pups are so
Awesome.
freaking cute.
Yeah, they are.
Well, thank you, Edward. That was an awesome question, and hopefully you guys get to meet again soon.
Thanks, Edward.
Okay. Thanks,
You're welcome.
Edward. Okay, so stick around for us, and we'll come back to you. So next up, we have Xavier. Hey, Xavier, how are you?
Good. How are y'all?
Y'all good.
Well.
What's going on?
I'm nervous. I haven't done this since last time, which was April, when I got to talk to him, and I'm just so excited to. He's a legend to me. I just want to be like him, but
That's okay. He's nervous too. He's very nervous.
Always, every single time.
I just wanted to start off. I'm not going to try to take a lot of time, but I'm going to shorten this as much as I can. So I've been had to write it down on a piece of paper because my mind. So I've been I've been going through some depression ever since Adventure Time ended. But it's like like my when you get into a show, it's like it becomes family to you, and that's and I get teased and picked on a lot on social media because that's how I am. I love the show more than anything, but that's why I made this.
Oh,
that's so cute. Did you draw
you
that?
made it?
Well, I had it customized. It has my of course Finn, which is freaking awesome, and then my favorite princess, but these are my two legends. I get teased on a daily basis, but I've been wanting to do voice acting. I've been trying to start at a young age. I'm 18 trying to do it, and it's like, because I know Jeremy said he got into it at a young age, and it's just, I don't know. I love the show, and I wanted to ask you, is there any words of confidence? Sorry, I'm nervous, and that you can give me. And have you ever had to pick between two things in your life, one being more important than the other?
That's an awesome question, Xavier.
Yeah, I mean, actually, there's been a lot of times. I think there's times when obviously personal life, when you have to pick between, just big decisions like what you want to do, what you want to go after. I mean, there's times I started acting really early, and when you're a kid, I think you're like enamored by the thought of it, and you're like, oh my gosh, this would be so cool. Like I love movies and TV shows and whatever else, and I want to be a part of that world. And so you're super excited. There's a difference though. I think, you hit a certain age where it really has to go from being something that you enjoyed as a kid to then making that active decision to be like, okay, well, this is something I actually want to pursue as an adult, and as a career. And so, I think that was a big one. There was a time, in teenage years where, I really hadn't booked anything for a long amount of time. This is before Adventure Time, or no, actually, during. No, it was before. So it wasn't teenage. It was like a little bit before. I'd worked a lot as like a kid from like 6 to maybe 9 or 10 years old. And then there was a couple of years where I just really wasn't booking anything, and I was going out on lots of auditions but not getting anything. And you start kind of doubting yourself, I think, getting a little self-conscious, and you're like, maybe I'm not good at it anymore. Is it even really what I want to do? And a lot of that just comes from, kind of that fear of not getting another job, essentially, or the uncertainty of what we do as artists and actors at times. Nothing is guaranteed. You're not guaranteed to have a show that'll go as long as Adventure Time did. You're not guaranteed to have a show or be on something even at all post that. And so I think that was a pretty big life decision. I got some good encouragement by my parents, which have always been, I think, the biggest encouragements in my life. And my dad was kind of asked me just, I was feeling down about it. And he was like, hey, like, is this, I was like, I don't think I want to do acting anymore. I don't think I want to do it anymore. And he kind of asked me, he was like, is that, like, why? Like, why do you not want to do it anymore? And I was kind of hem-hawing. I couldn't formulate a good answer for it. And he just asked, like, is it because, is it because you haven't worked on anything in a while? And it was kind of like, yeah, that was part of it. And then he was like, well, is it something that you genuinely enjoy doing? Like, is it something that you love doing? Like when you are working on something, like, what's the feeling you have when you are doing the job that you do? Like when you are acting in something, what's the feeling that you have? And I'm like, oh, I loved it. Like, it's my favorite thing in the world. He was like, well, then you don't want to not do it anymore. It's just that you're, in a drought because it's just hard right now. But it kind of made me realize and make the active decision that, okay, everyone is going to go through ups and downs in your life. But if you're pursuing something that you really genuinely love, and you genuinely feel like you need to be a part of, or you want to do, like, that's what you were made to do, stick with it. I mean, that doesn't mean it's going to be easy. I mean, for most people, it's not. Even for me, it makes it you get to a certain level of success and people think like, oh my God, like you're so lucky you did all this stuff. And yeah, I am lucky. I am very blessed to have what I have. I'm very thankful for it, but it was still off of a long time getting there. I mean, I'm 23. I started acting when I was 6 or 7 years old. And even to where I'm at now, that's taken 16, 17 years. So it's a long process. There's a lot of lows amongst all the highs. And so it's really one of those things where you just have to buckle down. And if you're going to do it, you got to do it. And it's not always going to be fun, but the times when it is make up for the times when it's not. And it's important to have other relationships and other things that you love in your life outside of it. But if it's the goal that you want to do and that's the career you want, I would say stick with it, you know?
Awesome.
See, it's like for 10 years growing up, Adventure Time has been like, I've never was good with making friends. So you, Flame Princess, Jake, all of them are my true friends. Like from this point, and y'all still are, and y'all always will be. But see, people pick on me with that. I'm like, well, there's nothing wrong with that. But I really won't.
Absolutely.
Hopefully I can get a chance to work with you, Jessica, John, all of them, when I become as good as you are, a legend. But
thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Xavier. That was an awesome question.
Yeah, I hate hearing that people pick on you, man. That sucks. But like praying for you. I hope that gets better. But no, I mean you shouldn't be picked on for that, man. Like it's what you love, it's what you're close to, and it's what has made a difference for you, obviously. And so there's nothing wrong with that. You know, pursue it. You know, don't let people that have no idea what they're talking about get you down if it's something that you really love.
Talking to you is basically a way to escape, reality. So it makes me feel better.
Thank you very much, man. I'm glad we can hang. Of course, you're welcome.
So nice.
Thanks for coming on, dude.
Thanks, Xavier. Well, we hope everything gets better, and we wish you all the best. An amazing question. I think Jeremy needs to be my life coach because he's got some very good advice here. So I might just be calling you. Awesome. Right. Thanks, Xavier. Awesome. So next, Xavier, stick around. We'll come back to you. So next we've got Alicia. Hey, Alicia, what's going on?
Hello, good morning.
Hey, where are you calling from?
I'm calling from my kitchen in the Philippines. So hello.
Oh.
I'm in my jammies. Yeah. It's 5 a.m. It's 5:10 a.m.
You are up early. Good on you. I'm so sorry.
I wish I looked that good in the mornings.
I waited for this, actually. So, well, how are you? How are you guys? It's really cool.
I'm
really
doing
cool to be here. It's my first time.
Oh, well, glad to have you. I hope it's been fun so far getting to watch, and now you kind of know what's happening, which is good.
Yeah, it's really good. I feel really nervous, but yeah.
Okay, you look confident. You don't look nervous at all.
You do, yeah. So what's your question, Alicia, for Jeremy?
Actually, you mentioned earlier playing a different version of yourself in the characters you play in, but with Finn, would you say he is more like you? Or now you're more like him?
Good question. Yeah, no, it totally makes sense. It's weird. I think, I mean, obviously Finn deals with things that I would never have to deal with on a daily basis, like fighting evil monsters and creatures and getting a party in the Cloud Kingdom with clouds. But I think he really comes from a very innocent place, especially in the beginning of the show. I mean, you really get to see him kind of progress from being this just kind of innocent, fun-loving, let's go slay evil things and let's go have fun 12-year-old that loves adventuring, to having to mature into kind of a young adult. And he goes through all the phase of being like a teenager, which is obviously like always a hard phase for a lot of people. And I think that's kind of a fun thing is even in your real life, like me, teenage years can be extremely awkward, and you don't know what you're doing half the time, and so I think there's a lot of that in Finn, and so I think as much as anybody can be like a character, I feel like Finn generally tries to do the right thing. It doesn't mean that he always does. He gets caught up in dumb things at times and occasionally makes bad decisions, but I think the heart of the character is really just someone who's trying to do the right thing. It doesn't mean you're always going to. But if that's the ultimate goal, I think that's a relatability. And I think the other thing that I relate the most to is just the part where he doesn't always succeed. He doesn't always achieve what he's setting out to achieve, or he doesn't always do things the right way. And then he comes to mature. That's the most human aspect of any character is the flaw of making bad decisions at times, but then having to come to grips with that and mature through it. And ultimately, he's very goofy. He's very goofy.
Yeah.
He's very silly. I think Finn probably takes himself more seriously than I do. I don't take myself seriously at all. So that's a divulgence. We're both bad at math, so that's definitely similar. That's just a 1-for-1. So yeah, I think in a weird way, certain things that Finn goes through mirror certain things that I've gone through in life. But I feel like that's probably true of a lot of people because he's a very relatable person. So, I think Finn is one of those characters where he goes through different things that I've gone through in my life, but I always try to just essentially approach him with how would I handle this situation. That doesn't mean I'm not writing the character, so I don't write what he does or doesn't do. But like if that was what I did, like how would I act that out? And that's kind of how I tried to approach Finn. So is being as much of a put myself into the character as possible, whilst also still keeping the high pitched voice, because it doesn't sound like my voice anymore. It did at the beginning, not anymore. But yeah, I think that's what makes Finn a great character. Is he's very relatable, and yeah, we tried to make him real, tried to make him all those things. So hopefully that shows through. But
yeah,
awesome.
It's a really good answer.
Thank you.
Perfect.
I appreciate it.
Thanks, Alicia. That was a great question.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah.
Thanks for getting up so early to chat with us.
Oh, actually, I haven't slept yet, so it's nothing.
No, girl, go get some sleep.
Go to sleep.
Well, not yet. Wait to stick around for us, and we'll come back to you. Awesome.
Pretty fun here.
Thanks, Alicia. Awesome. So now we're going to move on to Stephanie. Hey, Stephanie, how you doing?
Hi, hello. I'm
Hi.
nervous.
Where are you calling from, Stephanie?
From Texas.
Definitely from
Texas.
Texas. What's going on, Stephanie, from Texas?
Oh, sorry, I'm nervous. This is my first time here.
Okay.
Okay.
You're fine.
I just wanted to
So
say
what's
I'm
your
a
question?
huge fan. And my question was, what new hobbies have you acquired during the quarantine?
Great question, and I'm glad that you're a huge fan. Thank you for watching the stuffs that I'm a part of. I'm glad you like it. And new hobby during quarantine. I kind of mentioned it a little bit earlier, but I always played bass. So I have a bass acoustic here. The black one back there is my electric bass. But I never fully played actual guitar, and so I've kind of taken it upon myself a little bit to start at least learning how to play guitar during the quarantines. So yeah, this is what I've been working on. This has been my new hobby. I'm really not good yet, so this seems like it's about to be this like great jam session. It's
We're not
This is,
judging.
I can play a few chords, and that's about it. So. Whoop. That's just the perfect by Ed Sheeran chord progression. So. For me, darling, just dive right in. Follow my lead. I found your girl. Beautiful. beautiful landscape. I never knew you were someone waiting for me. So not very good yet, but
Oh, that was amazing!
I can play a few
Only
chords.
on CoStar.
Only on CoStar, yeah. I can play a few chords. This is what I've been working on. So, what have you been up to during the quarantine? Have you had a new hobby that you've been doing?
I started sketching, and I'm getting okay because I kind of stopped back in high school, but recently since quarantine, since there's nothing to do, I started again.
Exactly. That's awesome. I love it. What do you like to sketch? Is there like specific things that are like your go-to for sketching, or is it like completely original?
It depends that I like half sketched Adventure Time stuff, and there's times I sketch random things like something outside or something.
Cool. I dig it. That's awesome.
Well, next time you're on, you'll have to show us.
Yeah, you got to show us some of your sketches next time. Show and tell set.
Oh, don't drop that guitar, Jeremy.
Oh, it's good. It's pretty out there.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Stephanie. That was a great question.
Thank you so much.
Stick around for us, and we'll come back to you. And we want to see some sketches next time, okay? So get them ready. Awesome. Great. So now we're going to go on to Alyssa. Hey, Alyssa.
Oh, it's my turn. I'm sorry. Hi.
Oh, it's you. It's your time with Jeremy.
I don't know if you still remember me, but I was in one of your FanCasts last year.
I do remember you.
My sister, she came in randomly at some point.
She crashed the FanCast. It's all good. We're good with that here. We don't mind.
We love when people crash.
You look great today. You look great.
Thank you so much. You do too. I especially love the Keith Voltron. Is that a hoodie? Yeah, it's a hoodie. Voltron hoodie.
I literally begged for it for Christmas from my parents. They got it for me.
They got it. That's awesome.
So anyway, I can't sleep. So my question, so you mentioned something about being a teenager being hard and all earlier and stuff, and it's confusing.
Yeah.
So my question is, when you were a teenager, what would you consider one of your biggest obstacles or hardships, like in general, not just in the acting industry, and how did you overcome it? Like, would you give us advice from your experience or something?
Good question. I would love to. Yeah, I'm trying to think. I think one of the biggest things that's, this goes for, I'm sure, a lot of people, but when you're a teenager, you're just like, obviously you're filled with a lot of hormones and you're just awkward. And, it's like, I think it's always that thing, like you hit that age and like you have like a crush on someone, but you have no idea what to do with it. And like, you're just awkward. I think people assume that because I do acting or you do things like comedically and music and all these things, that you're like just naturally a very like suave, confident person. But that's not always the case. Like everyone, I feel like, has certain things they do that they're confident in, but that does not transcend to every single part of everything. It's kind of that fake it till you make it. I don't, even when I started acting, I started as a little kid, and then I hit a certain age where I was like, oh, I have to actually make this like a craft instead of just playing make believe, basically. And so, that was a hard transition. I joke. I mean, I'm not joking. When I was a little kid, I did acting, and then you hit this age where you become very self-conscious about everything. And for a while, I had a problem, like even just smiling as not as a person, but like in the context, like an audition or a scene or something. I couldn't even. I was so awkward. Like I had no idea how to do it. Like I would try, and it felt unnatural, and I couldn't do like emotional scenes. I would start like laughing. Like I couldn't do any type of, not even crying to the extent where you have tears, but like even just like crying without tears type scenes. So at 12, you just become so weirdly aware of everything, not everything, but like of yourself. and you're just so self-conscious. There's times when like you get conscious of like what your hands are doing, and if you start thinking about your hands, you're like, where do I put them? I don't even know. And that obviously translated not only from work stuff for me, but also just to like friendships. I think a big challenge is I started working from an early age, so I was always around adults, working with adults, and so I could have a conversation with an adult in work, and it wasn't weird. I could carry a very good conversation. And I had 2 older brothers, and so I felt like I kind of mentally matured faster than most people my age. And so when I started hanging out with more people my age, I was so socially awkward. I had no idea. Like, I felt like the most uncool person in the whole world. And my best friend at the time was like kind of the classic, like, like think about like the junior high Justin Bieber type person. And that was like my best friend. So he was like, he had like the J Beebs, like the hair, like the cool hoodies and stuff. It was just very like flirty, and like all the girls would like swoon basically. And I was just kind of there being like, hey, what's going on? Like, yeah, I was very awkward in junior high and early teenage years. But I think the good thing, the piece of advice that I would give to all of it is, we all go through like awkward phases, and phases where you're trying to figure out what you're like yourself, what your personality is. I think the main thing is to find people who enjoy you for you, not for a version of you that you put on. It's you want to find the friends that you can be comfortable around, just being yourself, and ultimately you want to find someone who likes the actual you. And I think the biggest thing is just to be confident in who you are. If you're a dork, and you make dad jokes 24/7, and you're just really goofy, own it. Be confident in that. There's no reason to try and act cooler than you are.
Would you describe yourself as that?
Oh yeah. Oh, I'm a total dork. I'm very dorky. My wife pity laughs for a lot of my dorky dad jokes, and I'm very thankful. She laughs at how bad my jokes are, and that makes me happy. But yeah, I'm very dorky. I mean, and she'll tell you too. But that's one of the reasons that I'm glad that I found the person I have, because she loves my dorkiness. And if you're going to be around someone 24/7, you want them to love the things that are that. You want them to love the little quirks that you have. That's the most important thing. So be yourself. And find people that like who you are.
So you didn't have like any school drama or anything? Like school drama like
I did. I feel like I mean, I guess I don't know what like extremely, I feel like I didn't have some extremely crazy serious thing. I felt like all the things that I was way too worried about at the time, I think feel so much less important now. And so I don't even think about it being a big thing. I think it was like as stupid as just, for me at least. I'm sure a lot of people have much more actual teenage hardships than I ever did. So I don't want to make it seem like my experience was bad. I was just awkward. And, had like one of those things where like you have a crush on someone and they don't like you back, that type of stuff. So like it was very, looking back now, it was very, I mean, the most simple stuff that everyone goes through as a teenager generally. So I don't think I had some extremely out of the norm experience. Just the same, I think, awkwardness that everyone goes through as a teenager. But
so you never were like bullied or anything, or you never experienced that?
I don't think I was ever. I mean, definitely not to the sense that I would call bullying. I mean, I think people. You go through ages where people make jokes that they're kind of mean jokes at times, but I mean, kids can be dumb. I don't even, it's one of those things where you just kind of learn to get over it. I mean, that said, like what I consider the stuff that I was said to me at times, like I look back and laugh on it. Maybe it hurt more in the moment, but now it's not a big deal. I mean, I think the stuff that I faced was definitely nowhere near what I've seen kids today face. And that's crazy to me, because that's only in 10 years. I feel like people have become way more vitriolic and just mean-spirited in the past 10 years even. And yeah, I mean, I didn't face anything like that bad, like really stupid, really dumb jokes that weren't even like, not even a smart joke, like not even a smart put down joke, just like really dumb stuff. So I think people now face a lot worse bullying than I ever did. And I feel bad, you know, for people that go through that. It sucks. It's horrible. You know, I think social media and kind of right now it's hard for people to get away from it too. And so I think that's the thing that's the most bad. Like even at my age, social media wasn't really a thing. And so, yeah, if someone said something, you go home and that's kind of the end of it. But now it's like that stuff follows people. So it's much harder. I feel like.
You're really lucky. Sure,
yeah.
Thank you. Well, I don't know.
2022, isn't it?
Yeah, hindsight 2020. I don't know if you've been bullied or if that's something that happens. That maybe you have. You have. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that. That sucks. I hope you have at least somebody that you can talk to and kind of, you know, go to escape from it, because I think that's the most important thing, is even just finding one friend.
It was the past. I've grown up from it, but then it was still a really bad experience. But then I like to look at the side that I actually learned something from it, and that I become a better person because of what happened to me. So I know it's kind of ironic, but I wouldn't have it any other way.
Totally. I think that's a great way to look at it. I think, you know, you can have a bad experience or people can do things to you, but if you can get through it and become stronger for it, you know, whatever. It's a very cheesy phrase, but whatever doesn't kill you makes you stronger. You know, it's that kind of thing where you go through life experiences and there's bad things that happened and things I wish I wouldn't happen, but ultimately, the farther down you get from it, you're glad for different reasons. There's always a weird silver lining to everything, and you grow so much as a person. So yeah, the bad experiences, just as much as the good ones, kind of make us who we are at times. So I'm glad you have that mindset. I hope things are in a better place now for you.
Thanks, Jeremy.
You're welcome, of course.
Guess what? We are at our very last fan for today, and Brian has waited a very long time to ask you. Brian, what is your question for Jeremy?
Hi. My question is, will you ever write a fan miniseries like Olivia Olson did for Marceline?
That is a great question. Thank you for coming on. And thank you for waiting, Brian. I appreciate it. Would I ever? Yeah. I mean, if I was given the opportunity, I would love to. Totally. I mean, I don't think there's been any plans for that as of yet. But I mean, if the opportunity ever presented itself, I would absolutely love to. I think it'd be so much fun. I mean, I have no idea what that would look like. I feel like we've done so much in the world of Adventure Time that I feel like we've done everything. But then every time I think that, you know, they come out with something new that's like takes it to a whole other place, and it's crazy. But yeah, I mean, if I had the opportunity, I would totally do it. That'd be a blast.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Brian. That was an awesome couple of questions. So we really appreciate that.
Of course, you're welcome. Thank you, Brian.
So, Jeremy, if you ever write a book, I'm going to be the first person to buy it, because you're an awesome life coach, I have to say. You give some very good advice.
Thank you. I tried to. It's not always perfect by any means. I feel like I ramble a lot of the time, but thank you. I appreciate it.
Okay, so thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. Brian was our last fan. So this is the time where we bring Jeremy in to give him the floor to speak about anything he would like to, any new projects, or Jeremy, the floor is yours.
Totally. Well, I want to say thanks again to everybody for coming on and for hanging out with us during quarantine. And just for being genuinely awesome, lovely people. I really appreciate it. It's so much fun every time. And I'm always, you know, no matter how many of these we do, I'm always surprised at the new questions and the new things that I'll get asked that I haven't been asked before. And it's always fun. I guess the main thing is hang in there. You know, we're all in this together. And I'm excited to share with you guys what we've been working on the past over a year now on this new show. I hope you guys like the Adventure Time Distant Lands episodes as they start coming out, and stay tuned for Julie and the Phantoms.
You have an Insider series dropping very soon.
Yeah. have an Insider series popping very soon. It's all about being a dog parent, because I've become a dog parent recently. And let me tell you, that is a lot of freaking work, a lot more than you think, and in the best kind of way. So I think it's all about that. So look out for that and check that out when it comes out too. But until next time, love you, everybody. Thanks for coming and hanging with me.
Thanks so much, everyone. Awesome questions today, and we look forward to seeing you next time. So make sure you follow us on Instagram and Facebook, and that will keep you up to date with everything. Thank you guys so much. It was an awesome chat, and everyone stay safe and healthy, and look forward to seeing you next time.